thank you so much for inviting us to your home. It's really wonderful to be here, and feels like, important conversations, and I feel like families across our region have been doing everything right, but still face some pretty big challenges. So just excited to hear your stories.
Yeah. We're happy to have you and chat.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
A second amazing member of the family on the way.
We're matter of a week or two away.
That's so cool that you're doing this, even though you're just a couple weeks away. That's awesome.
That was the one thing, like, we might have to cancel because labor is important.
That's true. Very much so. What's it been like with kind of the cost of living, cost of groceries? Is that something that's on your mind a lot?
Yeah, and I feel like we both have, like, good stable jobs, and went and got education, and it's a lot, especially when you look at expanding your family and building lunch boxes every day and trying to find the things that the kids might eat.
Right. Is this a struggle for you too? Because my kiddos are not the best eaters.
Yes.
They just turned the corner though, in the last maybe 2 months, and they're starting to eat now, and it's like, yes. This is a fundamental thing of life, like eating and sleeping, but like somehow kids don't want to do the two most important things of life. But they don't. But you will turn a corner. I just wanted to let you know that in case, because I thought there was no hope for my oldest. I thought she's just that's it. No.
Just berries and Cheerios.
Yeah. Just like no food. Like we called her a breatharian for a bit, because she's like, I'm as my protest, I'm just gonna breathe.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So, I don't know, we do the whole, like, looking at flyers and trying to figure out what's on sale, and but it is wild. You kind of step into a grocery store and just to get a couple basics, like last week I think I spent well over $100, and it was like, I don't even have any meals here. I have, like, the milk and the bananas and the
supporting cast, but you don't have an actual meal there. Wow.
So it does, I don't know, we think of,
adds up quickly. I feel like every month you're looking at the balance of your bank account, and it doesn't quite, you try to forecast, and you're like, this isn't going to work if at the current rate. So I feel like that's been kind of a stressor on us, for sure.
You try to change, like, what you're choosing to eat too.
Yep.
Like,
you have those choices. We're saying, like, with special things like Easter, families might want to come together and have a family meal, but families are cutting back on that because it's kind of expensive to plan for special meals like that. Hey?
Totally.
Yeah, we're hosting dinner tonight, and we a little bit ago bought, like, chicken breast when it was on sale, and then put it in the freezer.
Right, that's the kind of thing you have to do, right? Plan way ahead, and like you said, like, look at the flyers, and then try to catch the right moment. But it wasn't like that before. Hey, you could just kind of go grocery shopping, and it was pretty easy to do.
No, it wasn't like that before.
Yeah.
No, I would say we could get whatever protein you wanted. We had a hankering for a certain type of thing, say halibut or fish or something like that. Now it's like, like you say, you have to buy it in advance, buy it frozen.
Berries,
Berries are out, especially off season. Your kids demanding blueberries, and you're like, oh no, we can't do that.
No, that is not on the menu.
That's gonna break the bank.
Yeah.
But that's also, like, a staple of, like, when you're trying to get your kid to eat
and they like
and
something
healthy.
It's a healthy thing they like. You're like, well, you know what? I'm just gonna have to do it. Bite the bullet on that. It's tough.
So.
Well, this is something we've been hearing a lot from people across the country, and there are actually real solutions, like real things we can do. One of the things we noticed is that it's a lot of corporate grocery stores that are jacking up their prices and really just ripping off Canadians, and we saw that happened very concretely with the bread price fixing scandal. So they actually were found guilty of colluding. The big grocery corporate stores and big bread producers basically worked together to jack up the price of bread. They were found having done so, and they got, like, a very minimal fine, and now we're doing it again with meat prices. Recently, the Competition Bureau came out and said that a lot of the corporate grocery stores are adding the package weight in addition to the weight of the meat when you're being charged at the grocery till, which is, again, not supposed to happen, but they're just being found again and again with these really overt practices of basically ripping people off. And so we have ways to push back against that, and we're going to talk about that today. Some concrete steps we can do to push back against these really massive, there's really just 5 companies that when you go grocery shopping mostly, you're going to go to either a Loblaws or a subsidiary of Loblaws, like Canada Superstore is a Loblaws. So Loblaws, Metro, Sobeys, Walmart, and Costco are really the big five that people go to. And they're making big profits while people are having a hard time buying groceries. So we have ways to push back, and I want to give you some hope that there are solutions. Other countries have put them in place and have really effectively brought down food prices. So I'm giving you a little teaser of what I'm going to say for the press conference, but
hope would be excited to see
there's real solutions. Like, we really can take this on. It's just a matter of taking it as a priority and being willing to take on the actual cause of what's driving up a lot of food prices.
Yeah, because we also want to support, our local producers and farmers, and but where is that balance that works for everyone?
Yeah. I mean, we can definitely find that. And one of the things we just saw recently, which is I think really disturbing, so we've seen a lot of Canadians in a great show of pride want to buy Canadian products, and that's awesome. And now recently, there's some reports coming out, so it's not become system-wide yet, but we're getting some bad early signs that corporate grocers are again jacking up the price of Canadian products, knowing that Canadians want to buy Canadian products and are willing to spend more. They're purposely inflating those prices. So Chapman's ice cream, for example, has made a commitment that they're not going to increase their food prices no matter what happens. They're going to keep their ice cream affordable. So they just kind of made this commitment, which is really cool for them to do that. Yeah. They had no obligation to do so, but they made that commitment. But Loblaws now has been found to be jacking up the price of Chapman's ice cream because people are buying it more because it's Canadian. And so the supplier has committed not to increasing it, and we know their prices haven't gone up, but the retailer is increasing the prices. So more proof that they're just ripping us off, which is what? Like, that's so bad to do that at a time when Canadians are showing this pride, and you're like finding ways to exploit that.
Yeah.
It's just so bad.
And it has such a tangible impact. Like, it's not only that you're struggling to afford the food that you want, but it also, like, there was a time when families could save for the future, and it then has this cascading effect on other decisions you're making in your life. So
yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, you were talking about that kind of, you look at your monthly, at the end of the month, like, wait, where am I sitting? It's not where I need to be, so it's going to be hard.
Definitely nothing going into the savings, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like different choices are made about, hobbies or travel or things that are nice to haves, but it's, there's not a lot of that extra.
Really, that's what goes, is the nice to haves, right? All those kind of quality of life pieces that you enjoy doing, but okay, we're not doing that. We're not traveling this year. I mean, we have a newborn on the way, but probably not next year either, right? Like, it's just, I don't know how it's going to work financially. So.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like not wrong for you to want to be able to do those nice things. Like, people should be able to afford their home and their groceries, pay the bills, and have money left over, to go on a trip if they want,
or visit family, and
it's a thing that Canadians should be able to do. And I'm hoping with some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today of how we can bring down food prices, it'll kind of bring that hope back, that you can actually be able to afford those things that you need and be able to save up a bit.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
That's
looking
great.
forward to hearing about it.
Yes, I'm looking forward to sharing it. Yes. I guess we'll head on over.
Yeah, did we want to?
Well, thanks for sharing your story. One of the things that's really important for us is to capture like what actual folks are going through and couch what we talk about in real people. We met with Emma and met with Cam, and we're hearing from you because you're the people we want highlighted in all of this. Like, it's real folks that are feeling the squeeze of high prices, and you're the folks that we want to fight for. So thanks for
Thank you.
Well,
thanks
thank
for
you.
fighting.
Yeah.
Both of you.
Yes, of course. Our pleasure and honor. Yeah, that's it. We're going to head over here, and thanks so much again.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So first, I want to start off by thanking everyone for the great conversation today. And I am here with Maya Tate, the candidate for Esquimalt Sandwich Souk, and Colin Plant, the candidate for Sandwich Gulf Islands. And I am so grateful to be here on the homelands of the Lekwungen-speaking peoples, the Songhees and Kosapsum First Nations. And we all know what's at stake. It is climate and reconciliation, defending democracy. We are facing some big challenges. Across the country, families are waiting longer in ER rooms. They're seeing vital public services go into private hands. And it's communities like ours who pay the price. Today we've been talking about grocery prices, and we know that families across Canada are struggling. Life is getting more and more unaffordable, and this is while big grocery chains are making huge profits as they gouge Canadians. And we know that the Liberals and the Conservatives will never stand up against corporate greed. But do you know who will stand up for families who are struggling right now? Jagmeet Singh and New Democrats. So it is my privilege to hand the mic over to the leader of Canada's NDP, Jagmeet Singh.
Thank you, Laurel, and thanks to Emma and to Cam for allowing us to use this beautiful backyard to be able to chat with you, and thanks to our incredible candidates. We're celebrating Easter, so happy Easter to everybody celebrating today. And it's a time when a lot of families are saying we're going to bring folks together, have a special meal, invite friends and family over. And when they're doing that, they're ever having a harder and harder time to actually plan those meals. It's getting harder to buy groceries. And this past month in general, there's been lots of special times for folks. Passover for the Jewish community, Basaki for the Sikh community. Lots of opportunities for people to come together. And when they're doing that, they're saying, wait a second, it's getting hard to buy the groceries to be able to have those special gatherings. It's more and more expensive. It's more and more pressure. Some families are cutting back on it and saying, maybe I can't afford to have that special family dinner or can't have that special gathering that we normally have. When you have those gatherings, maybe you're cutting back on some of the items you would normally buy because they're just too expensive. You know, kids look forward to these type of celebrations and think about those delicious chocolates. And maybe you've got to cut back on that because it's getting more and more expensive. And on top of that, we got the threat of Donald Trump and the trade war, which has a potential to increase food prices even more, make things even more unaffordable. And in fact, we've just seen a 50-year record in terms of food inflation in month-over-month increase just happened. So we've just seen a record increase in food inflation in 1 month. And we also saw that the carbon tax was removed off of the consumer carbon tax was removed. So for Pierre Poilievre in his argument that that was the only reason that food prices were high, clearly a month later food prices are going up. That's not what it is. And I hope folks are seeing that he would never really had the solution to the problems you're going up against, because the problem that we're up against is that corporate grocery stores are ripping off people. They're engaged in price gouging and price fixing, and we're seeing it happen again and again. Most recently, I'll give you a couple examples, bread prices. These big corporate grocery stores and big bread producers colluded to jack up the price of bread. More recently, we heard about meat prices, where corporate grocery stores were adding the package weight with the price of the meat, which is not allowed, it's illegal, but they were doing that anyways. And now we've seen another really egregious example of corporate greed and price gouging. We've got suppliers that have committed to keeping their prices down, and one of those companies is Chapman's Ice Cream. They've said they're going to keep their prices affordable, and they're not going to increase them no matter what happens with inflation. They made that commitment. But we've seen now some reports coming up, early bad sign, that Loblaws has actually jacked up the price of Chapman's Ice Cream because Canadians are wanting to buy Canadian products. They're literally exploiting Canadians' pride. Like, that is disgusting. Like, there is no limit to what these companies are going to do to try to find a way to make more money. Literally jacking up the price of Canadian products because Canadians want to show pride in buying and supporting Canadian. They're jacking up those prices. So we know that Pierre Poilievre is never going to take on this problem, right? For folks out there thinking that he might be the fix, no, he's not going to. You'll never hear him talk about these large corporate grocery stores ripping you off. He's never going to talk about taking them on. In fact, every motion we put forward, every measure we put forward in Parliament to take on price gouging, where these companies are gouging you at the till, he voted against. He opposed because he's in it for them. And sadly, Mark Carney is not going to take this on either. Mark Carney has put out his platform, and it includes massive cuts, $28 billion in cuts to services that you and your family need. So he's not going to take on this real problem. And so this is why we are putting forward our plan. People need hope. And so this is what we're going to do. We're going to put in a price cap on food essentials. This is a policy that France has done and Greece has done. Both of them have effectively brought down food inflation in the case of France by 15%. And in the case of Greece, they brought down food prices by 15% by putting in a price cap on food essentials. We're going to stop price gouging. And if companies like Loblaws think they can jack up the price of Canadian products because Canadians want to show pride and support Canadian, we're going to put in laws. We're going to legislate protections to stop them from doing that. We are going to... And you want something that's going to fight back, so I'm just going to pause right here.
Yes, there's a technical issue, Mr. Singh, sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We're going to take a minute, okay? We've
Yes,
lost your audio, is
That's
that okay?
Yeah, yeah. We're going to take a second there. We'll
It's
take
okay.
that from the top.
Just keep going.
I saw a lot of scrambling. I wasn't sure what's going on.
It just happened, just give us a second, okay? Keep talking, just say, I think we've almost got back, stand by.
We're going to make sure that the audio is working here. We're just going to do it.
I think we got it, I've got it, I've got it.
His honorary seat.
That's all good. Stuff happens. We're going to make sure. We'll take it again from the top. Yeah, give you a little audio here to make sure it's working. For folks at home there, can you hear us? Yeah, let's give you a little audio. Is it sounding stable? Is it sounding good? I bet you it was Pierre Poilievre's campaign. He didn't want us pointing out that his carbon tax didn't work. He wanted to point out that that was all bogus.
For the last 15 seconds, it's been stable.
Okay, good.
So, I think about 40 seconds ago we lost you. So
All right.
I don't know where you were.
I don't know where I was either. Maybe I'll just do a quick summary of it all. Let's try taking it again from the top. Thanks so much, Mike. All right. We just had a minor technical difficulty there. I'm just going to take it back from the top. We're here to talk about grocery prices. We're in a time when folks are celebrating and bringing families together. Today's Easter, so happy Easter to folks celebrating. We had Passover, we had Vasaki, lots of reasons for families to come together, but they're finding it more expensive than ever to buy groceries. And with the trade war, people are worried the prices might go up even higher. We just saw by Statistics Canada pointed out that we've seen a 50-year record in food price inflation in 1 month increase. So people are really worried about what that means. Food prices are going up and they're really worried. It's a struggle for people to buy groceries. We spoke with Emma and Cam and are welcoming a new family member, hopefully very soon, maybe in a couple of weeks. And for a lot of families are feeling that squeeze and worried about how much it's going to cost to buy groceries, to feed their family, to feed their kids. In all of this uncertainty, Canadians need to know that we've got a plan to actually make food affordable. We know that Pierre Poilievre's only idea was, well, he's got two ideas. One was to take the consumer tax off of the carbon tax off, and that was going to bring down food prices. That failed. It's been a month since it's been off, and food prices have gone up. We also know his plan recently was to cut services for you, and somehow cutting services for you is going to bring down food prices. He literally said that today, a ludicrous suggestion that cutting your health care is somehow going to bring down food prices. I mean, it makes no sense at all. He's just trying to justify massive cuts to the things that you and your family need. That's not going to bring down food prices because we know it's driving up food prices. We've got ample evidence that large corporate grocery stores are priced to have colluded, worked together with bread producers to jack up the price of bread. More recently, the Competition Bureau found that corporate grocery stores were adding the weight of the packaging for meat to the price, and that was also jacking up prices. And now we've seen another example of how corporate grocery stores are willing to price gouge people. This is early signs, but we've got some Canadian suppliers that have committed to not letting their food prices go up, their products go up. And Chapman's is an example of an ice cream company that said we're going to keep our prices affordable for families if they want those special treats. But recently we found that Loblaws, in some recent reports, is jacking up the price of Chapman's ice cream because right now Canadians, in a show of pride, want to buy Canadian products, and they purposely jacked up the price of Canadian-made ice cream. Like, that's disgusting. To prey on and to exploit the pride of Canadians, to say, oh, because Canadians are buying more Canadian products, let's jack up those prices because Canadians are willing to pay more. That shows you that left on their own, these corporate grocery stores are going to find every way possible to price gouge you and to jack up prices. So we've got to fight back. We've got a plan to do that. We're going to take on any company that thinks they can jack up the price of Canadian products to exploit Canadians' pride right now. We're going to legislate to protect Canadians. We also are going to plan to where our plan includes putting in place a price cap on food essentials. This is an immediate step to bring down food prices for the essentials, for things that people need. France has done so and brought down the price, brought down food inflation by 15%. And Greece has done so and brought down food prices by 15%. So this is a measure that works, and it works immediately to bring down the cost of food. We're going to fight to deliver this for Canadians. And so if you're worried right now, I'm thinking my food prices keep on going up, I'm worried about that. You're worried about Mark Carney's cuts, because Mark Carney is not going to fix this problem. His platform announced $28 billion in cuts to the things that you need. That's not going to make things better. It's going to make things even more costly. So if you're worried about those cuts, if you're worried about food prices going up, you have the power to vote for New Democrats who are going to fight back and defend you and bring down the price of food. If you're worried about cuts, no matter who the government is, New Democrats, if you elect us, if you vote for New Democrats, we will be there to fight back against any government that wants to cut the things that you need. Here on the island, if you're worried about conservatives, you're afraid of Pierre Poilievre and his plans to cut the things you need, New Democrats beat conservatives. Re-elect your New Democrat incumbent, elect a New Democrat, and you can beat conservatives and send someone that you know is going to fight for you and your family. So in this difficult time, I want you to know we got your back. We're not in it for the billionaires. We're not in it for the corporate grocery stores. We're in it for you. You have the power to vote for us so that we can go to Ottawa and fight for you. And I'll do that again in French, and I'll take your questions. Donc, on célèbre aujourd'hui la Pâques, donc joyeux Pâques pour les gens qui célèbrent. Et c'est une saison où il y a plusieurs célébrations pour la communauté juive, le Passover, pour la communauté sikh, on a Vaisakhi. Donc il y a plusieurs raisons pour les gens de célébrer, d'avoir des repas avec la famille, mais c'est de plus en plus difficile pour les familles parce que ça coûte trop cher, ça coûte plus cher pour faire l'épicerie. Donc, et en plus, on a la menace de Donald Trump et la guerre commerciale qui peut aussi augmenter le coût de la vie et le coût d'épicerie. Et pendant tout ce temps, les gens qui en arrachent, on regarde les autres partis et leurs plans. Le plan de Pierre Poilievre, c'était de couper la taxe carbone des consommateurs. C'est déjà fait, mais les prix d'épicerie ont toujours augmenté. Et Mark Carney, son plan, c'est de couper 28 milliards de dollars dans les services dont vous avez besoin. Il ne va pas régler ce problème. Notre plan va faire face directement au vrai problème. Et le problème, c'est le fait qu'on a des grandes entreprises qui arnaquent les gens, qui exploitent les gens. On a plusieurs exemples de comment ça se passe. Dans le passé, ils ont fixé le prix du pain. Ils ont augmenté les prix pour arnaquer les gens, pour exploiter les gens et pour faire les grands profits. Ils ont fait la même chose avec la viande, en incluant le package, qu'on ne doit pas faire, mais ils ont fait ça avec le poids de la viande. Ils ont inclus tout le package et ça veut dire une hausse des prix encore. Et récemment, il y a un exemple tellement horrible que les Canadiens qui veulent montrer de fierté ont voulu acheter des produits canadiens. Un exemple, c'est la crème glacée d'une entreprise Chapman. Ils ont dit qu'ils vont geler les prix. Ils ne vont pas augmenter les prix pendant toute cette guerre commerciale. Ils ne vont jamais augmenter les prix. Mais Loblaws, il y a des rapports, a récemment augmenté les prix spécifiquement des produits canadiens comme Chapman's pour faire encore plus de profits. Ça montre le vrai problème, c'est les grandes entreprises qui arnaquent les gens. Et notre solution, c'est d'arrêter ça. On va mettre en œuvre des lois qui protègent les consommateurs contre ces mesures. On va plafonner les prix d'épicerie essentiels pour réduire les prix. C'est une mesure qui a fonctionné en France et en Grèce et c'est une mesure qui a réduit l'inflation énormément. Donc, on peut le faire. On a des solutions. En tant que les conservateurs proposent des coupures massives et Mark Carney aussi propose des coupures, on est la seule partie qui est là pour défendre vos intérêts. Arrêtez les coupures et réduire les prix de vos épiceries. Donc, vous avez le pouvoir de voter pour l'NPD si vous avez peur de ces coupures. Vous avez le pouvoir de voter pour l'NPD pour envoyer des députés à Ottawa qui vont défendre vos intérêts et réduire les prix d'épicerie. Merci beaucoup. With that, I'm ready for any questions.
Thank you. We'll take questions on location, one question and a follow-up, and we'll start with David Thurton, CBC News.
Hi, Mr. Singh. Good morning. Happy
morning.
Easter.
Thank you.
First question I just want to ask you is about, we were door knocking yesterday with your candidate, Ms. Collins, and one of the things that you were talking to some people at the door was about the NDP, New Democrats, on the island stop Conservatives, and if you want to stop Conservatives, you were telling voters you need to vote for New Democrats. And you also saw a sign that kind of had that similar flavor. So in the past, the NDP hasn't really benefited from strategic voting, but it seems that you're calling for that now. So are you calling for strategic voting in this election?
Well, I'm calling for folks who are worried about Conservatives to vote for your incumbent New Democrat. If you're worried about Conservatives and you're worried about them getting in, vote for a New Democrat to beat Conservatives. Here on the island, that's who beats Conservatives. And for folks who are worried about Mark Carney and the fact that he's proposing massive cuts, that's something you're worried about? Send a New Democrat to Ottawa. We're going to fight back against those cuts, no matter who the government is. If you're worried about cuts to healthcare, vote for a New Democrat. If you're worried about Conservatives winning, vote for your New Democrat incumbent. If you're worried about having someone that's going to be on your side or not, you know New Democrats will always be on your side. Vote for a New Democrat.
That sounds like you're calling for strategic voting.
Well, I'm calling for people to vote according to what they care about most. And if they want to stop a Conservative here on Vancouver Island, the best way to do that is to vote for New Democrat. If people are worried about, you live in downtown Toronto and you're worried about Mark Carney's plans to cut the things you need, vote for New Democrat. Send a New Democrat to Ottawa and we'll fight back and make sure that no government cuts the things that you need. Wherever you are, if you're worried about who's going to be on my side in this really uncertain time, lots of anxiety, lots of fear, lots of worry, if you are concerned that you're not sure who's going to be on my side, vote for a New Democrat and we're going to fight for you.
Next question, Rachel.
Oui. Donc, si vous avez des inquiétudes, vous avez peur des coupures conservatrices, c'est Pierre Poilievre, et vous voulez arrêter les conservateurs, vous pouvez voter pour l'NPD pour défaire des conservateurs. Ici, sur l'île de Vancouver, si vous voulez défaire des conservateurs, votez pour l'NPD. Et si vous avez des inquiétudes par rapport aux coupures proposées par Mark Carney, donc votez pour l'NPD. Vous avez le pouvoir d'envoyer des néo-démocrates qui vont défendre vos intérêts.
Rachel Ellis, CTV News.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're spending this weekend in the West Coast hitting up ridings that the NDP currently hold. Is that because you're concerned they could be at risk?
We want to spend our time in beautiful parts of our country where we can let Canadians know that they've got someone on their side. And so in many elections, we spend time here on Vancouver Island. You can understand why if you're anywhere else in the country in April, you want to spend time in Vancouver Island. But more importantly, we really want folks to know that they've got an important choice in this election. And so for folks on the island who've been feeling a lot of worry and anxiety, I know that you're worried about Pierre Poilievre and the cuts that Conservatives are proposing. And I know more and more people are telling me, well, Mark Carney's talking a lot about cuts as well. Vote for a New Democrat if you're worried. We will beat Conservatives and we'll be a strong voice for you in Ottawa.
So speaking of Mark Carney, yesterday he was telling a crowd in Peterborough to think about what the Liberals could do with a strong mandate. You've shown and have talked about in recent days what the NDP could do in a minority situation. But what do you see as your party's role if Canadians elect a majority government next week?
Well, ultimately, we know that Canada works best when one party doesn't have all the power. And we have lots of examples of that. We have lots of proof of that. Think about anything that you're proud of. As at the federal level, people are proud of our healthcare system, proud of pensions, old age security. Each one of those things were brought in when New Democrats were strong in Ottawa and were able to fight and force the government to deliver. Liberals never deliver on their own. If you love and believe in the idea of pharmacare, well, the Liberals would never have delivered it. They promised it for 3 decades and never moved on it until We forced them to do it in the recent minority government. So what we've seen is auto works best, not just when one party doesn't have all the power, but when you send strong New Democrats to Ottawa to fight for you. And so I would ask Canadians, if you want to see healthcare expanded and defended, vote for New Democrat. If you want to see pharmacare move forward, Mark Carney's already said he's not interested in expanding it. He's not made that commitment. I will fight to expand it. Vote for New Democrat. If you want to see food prices come down, and that's something that you're worried about because food prices continue to rise, we will fight for bringing in a price cap on food essentials and bring down your groceries. Vote for New Democrat. Well, ultimately, Canadians are going to choose the outcome of this election. That's going to be a Canadian's choice. I want them to know, for all the things that I hear people are worried about, the best way to achieve those things is to vote for a New Democrat. Les gens vont choisir le résultat dans cette élection. Ça, c'est le choix des gens. Mais je suis sûr, si vous voulez voir une réduction des prix des épiceries, vous voulez augmenter les soins de santé, continuer avec la science et médicaments, la seule façon qu'on peut aller de l'avant avec ces choses, c'est avec des néo-démocrates à Ottawa.
Von Stackelberg, CBC News.
Hi there, good morning. Elections Canada says there will likely be a record for Canadians voting in advance polls. The Conservatives have yet to release their costed platform. You yourself, your party, only released your costed platform yesterday. Why do you think it is that parties take as long as they do to tell Canadians how they plan to spend their taxpayer dollars?
Well, I think this is a really important opportunity to look at the different options. So we've released our costed platform and the Liberals have. We've told you very directly our priorities. We will not cut healthcare, and we've shown you that we're not going to do that in our costed budget. We're going to invest in the things that you care about. We want to expand pharmacare and expand healthcare and defend the things that you hold dear. Those are our priorities, and we've laid them out. We've also told you how we're going to pay for the things that we want to do. We want a wealth tax on the super rich, the top of the top, the wealthiest of the wealthiest Canadians. We want them to pay a little bit more. We want to ask them to contribute a bit more towards building a fairer society. That's what we believe in. Mark Carney has laid out his platform in all fairness. He has shown you that he has confirmed $28 billion in cuts. So all the time we pointed out that he has been saying again and again that he's going to cut. He's been telling us that he's going to cut. He has confirmed that with his budget, he is going to cut. And he has told us where he's going to cut. He said healthcare transfers to individuals, services, that's going to hurt people. The only one who has not, and he's also showed you his priorities. He wants to spend $19 billion, according to the PBO. He wants to spend $19 billion giving a tax break to mostly millionaires. I think those are bad priorities, but at least he's telling us exactly what he's going to do. Now, Pierre Poilievre is going to cut. He's told us he's going to cut. His plan was to cut. Conservatives cut when they're in power. When he was in government with Stephen Harper, they cut massively in healthcare, in pensions, in border security, and all the things that people care about. They cut. He's going to do it again, but he doesn't have the courage to show you that. He hasn't actually given you a costed platform, but we know he's going to cut. But he's not willing to even tell you that to your face and show you a platform. So if you're worried about cuts, it's clear the only option to fight back against cuts is by voting for New Democrats.
My second question is for Laurel, if that's all right.
Yeah.
This riding of Victoria has been held by the NDP since 1988, I believe. Victoria is one of those ridings that the Liberals are eyeing. Polling suggests a big chunk of voters have decided to move from the NDP to the Liberals. Are you worried that your seat is at risk?
Well, what we've been seeing in this campaign is more people than ever requesting lawn signs, more than in my past two campaigns. We've had tons of people coming in wanting to volunteer. We've had young people taking time out of their busy lives to volunteer on the campaign, and it's because they know what's at stake. This is a critically important election, and for the past 2 decades, year after year, election after election, it has been New Democrats who beat Conservatives in Victoria. And so people have been coming out to support our campaign, and I'm so grateful to this community for sending New Democrats, not only because on Vancouver Island, that's who stops Conservatives, because they know that if they send a New Democrat to Ottawa, they will defend what matters most to this community.
Is it critical for the NDP, though?
This election is critical for our country and for the NDP, I think for everyone. Right now we are facing huge threats from the South, people are very worried about what Pierre Poilievre would mean for this country. And here on Vancouver Island, people are coming out to support New Democrats because they know that's who stops Conservatives and that's who fights to keep Canada, Canada.
Juliane Lapointe, Radio-Canada.
Bonjour, Monsieur Singh.
Bonjour.
On a vu Pierre Poilievre tout à l'heure dans les images être en train de peinturer des œufs de Pâques en bleu. C'est Pâques aujourd'hui. Si vous avez à peinturer des œufs, vous les peinturez de quelle couleur? Pour quelle raison? Est-ce que vous invitez les Canadiens à les peinturer d'une couleur? Pour quelle raison?
J'ai porté mon turban rose aujourd'hui parce que la fille qui habite ici, la fille de Emma et Cam, elle adore la couleur rose. Ma fille aussi adore la couleur rose, donc je préfère, je pense en général, comme couleur, la couleur rose. Mais si on parle d'intention de vote, donc évidemment, je veux que les gens votent orange et couleur orange. Mais si on parle des couleurs pour le fun, la joie, choisir une couleur que vous aimez. Mais si on parle de comment vous allez voter, évidemment, j'espère que vous allez voter pour quelqu'un qui va défendre vos intérêts. Et ça, c'est la couleur orange.
Donc, peinturer les œufs. Donc, peinturer les œufs de quelle couleur?
Oui. In English, I'll just repeat that. So, I mean, when it comes to painting the color of eggs, I think people should choose a color that they like, whatever the color they like. I chose pink today because I know that Lenora, the young girl that lives here with the daughter of the parents here, loves the color pink. My daughter, Anna, loves the color pink, so pink is a fun color for colors. But if we're talking about how you want to vote in this country, of course, I want you to vote the color orange because that's the only team that's going to fight for the things you care about.
C'est pas ma relance, mais donc, est-ce que vous pensez que les gens doivent peinturer en orange? Si ça leur tente. C'est pas ma relance.
Oui,
mais...
vous pouvez peinturer de n'importe quelle couleur, mais votez orange.
D'accord. Je continue avec ma métaphore des œufs. Est-ce que vous croyez que les Canadiens doivent mettre tous leurs œufs dans le même panier à l'élection?
Non, exactement. Ça, c'est notre question primordiale ou notre proposition primordiale dans cette élection. Ne mets pas tous les paniers, tous les œufs dans un panier. Non, pas du tout. Parce que Ottawa fonctionne mieux quand un parti n'a pas tout le pouvoir et particulièrement en même temps quand les néo-démocrates sont forts. Donc, si vous appuyez et utilisez votre pouvoir pour envoyer un député néo-démocrate à Ottawa, vous allez avoir un allié qui va défendre ce qui est cher à vous. No, you should definitely not put all your eggs in one basket. We've been taught this our whole life, folks. We know that you don't do that. And in this election, that totally applies. Continuing with the beautiful egg metaphor. Thank you for doing that. Yeah, you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. You shouldn't put all your power in one party. And we know that that's just how our country has worked best. All the great things in our country have happened when one party doesn't have all the power, and particularly at the same time when New Democrats are strong. So vote for New Democrats who are going to fight for the things that you hold dear and defend those things.
Michael John Lowe, Times Colonist.
Oh, yes, yes. Yes. Bonne idée. I'm getting a chance to do it again because I stepped on my own clip. So let me try that again. Non, c'est moi qui dois dire merci. Ne mets pas tous vos œufs dans un panier parce que on a appris ça pendant longtemps. Ce n'est pas la bonne chose à faire avec les œufs. Ce n'est pas la bonne chose à faire avec le pouvoir non plus. Avec le pouvoir, c'est clair que Ottawa fonctionne mieux quand un parti n'a pas tout le pouvoir. Ça fonctionne mieux en même temps quand les néo-démocrates sont forts. Donc, votez pour l'NPD pour avoir des alliés qui vont défendre ce qui est cher à vous.
Okay, for real, Michael John Lowe, Times Colonist.
Are you going to be campaigning further up Vancouver Island this election? You're calling for people to vote for incumbent NDPs, and if polls are to be believed, several MPs up island are fighting for their political life. Are you going to show up, for example, in Nanaimo or Port Alberni to shore up support for Lisa Marie Barron, Gord Johns, etc.?
Yeah, we're going to go up to Duncan today and then onwards to Nanaimo. And so wherever you are on the island, if you want to stop Conservatives, vote New Democrat. It is the surefire way. The best way to stop Conservatives on the island is to vote New Democrat. And at the same time, the best way to ensure you've got someone that's going to fight to defend the things that you hold dear. If you care about universal public health care and you don't want to see cuts at the federal level, vote for a New Democrat. If you want to see prices come down and stop corporate grocery stores from ripping you off, vote for a New Democrat. For the things that matter most to people, if you send a New Democrat, use your power and vote for a New Democrat, we will fight for you and defend you.
So is this a call for strategic voting on the island?
This is a call for people on the island who want to stop conservatives to vote New Democrat. This is a call for people across the country who are worried about the cuts of both Mark Carney and Pierre Poilievre, both who are planning massive cuts. You want someone that's going to fight back against those cuts, vote for a New Democrat.
Charas Leo, Check News.
If you want anybody to blame for derailing this, it was me.
Okay.
Question regarding whether you want to answer it or Maya, regarding the Esquimalt Sandwich Souk writing, one of your competitors from the Liberal Party. There's been some messages and records flag that she's made a donation to the Conservative Party of Canada in the past. Do either you or Maya want to comment on this?
Yeah, I'll definitely comment on that. Give me 1 second. The Liberal candidate in question here in Esquimalt Sandwich Souk is someone that seemed to have changed their parties a lot. I started from one party, moved to another party, donated to another party. I think for folks who have questions about that in terms of where their values are, I think those are fair questions. But ultimately, if you want someone that's going to beat a conservative, someone that's going to fight for the things that you care about, that's going to defend you and your family against the cuts of Mark Carney or Pierre Poilievre, someone that's going to help bring down the price of food, someone with a proven track record, vote for Maya Tate. This is someone who has shown you she's a fighter. She's going to stand up for the people. She's going to represent them with all of her heart.
Thank you. Merci. Thank you. Merci.
Merci. Thank you very much. Appreciate you, Richer. Okay, thanks all. Merci.